Brinda Ma'am has studied at Parsons Schools of Design, New York, and completed her diploma in textile design from Sir J.J. School of Arts, Mumbai, in 1979. Her works have always been a combination of realism and abstraction, experimental across various mediums such as oils, acrylics, corrugated cardboard, cloth, and metallic paper. Her artwork is a strong amalgamation of architectural elements and abstract urbanscapes. She is known to play with materials in a collage, creating three-dimensional effects. Brinda Ma'am has held many solo exhibitions in Mumbai and has been a part of many significant national and international group shows at prestigious galleries such as Reflections Art Gallery, Hong Kong Colors of India, Dubai, and many more. She's been actively organizing art events such as the Kalagoda Arts Festival and has been executive committee member of Kalagoda Arts Association since 2000. So, could we start with the questions?
Hi, everyone.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Hi. So who's going to ask me? What are we waiting for?
Right, so so the first question that we have for you, ma'am, is that in an interview you mentioned about how you draw your inspiration from the various places that you travel, that you see when you travel. So what has been driving your inspiration after the pandemic struck, since we were all bound to our houses?
So yes, I am very affected by not being able to travel because I've always drawn my inspiration from travel. But on the other hand, I mean, there are many other things that do inspire me. I also am very, very fond of things like architecture. Where I'm surrounded, my whole family, it's a family of architects. So I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by, those kind of inspirations. Also, I'm doing a lot of, a lot of reading. I'm doing a lot of other things which I feel, in these times one has to adapt. One has to feel a bit more positive about one's work, so we have to look elsewhere. We just can't be looking at the one thing that we are stuck on. And change is very, very important. I feel adapting is very important. I'm not as young as you guys. So for me, that is a little more difficult, but I've always tried and kind of kept pace with the times. Thanks.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So the next question that we have is, you've been very instrumental in expressing your art through various mediums like paintings, murals, architecture, and so on. I would like to know if you would ever consider fashion to be one of the mediums that you express your art through.
Passion, did you say? What did you say? Passion.
Fashion.
Passion. Oh, definitely. I think all the arts are connected. I don't see why it should be just fashion. I think fashion is also very important, just as textiles are important, or all are connected. I've learned at the festival, Kalagoda Arts Festival, to kind of dabble in all the arts, and I realized how each of them are linked to the other. So one cannot do without the other, I feel. And even though there is a lot of and there are a lot of sections and subsections, and the people will say, oh no, but the best art form is fine art, or the best, or graphic design, or whatever. But I don't see, why we cannot connect all the sections. And I've learned over these years that each section is equally important. And I think one inspires the other. For example, something like dance, for example, is so visual. So I think it's a wonderful visual art. If they call it a performance art, but it's a visual art. I think similarly, fashion is, it involves some drawing, it involves some skills, it involves creative skills. Anything that is creative is, according to me, mainstream. Thanks.
Right. All right, ma'am. Thank you so much. Shagun, would you like to take over?
Yes, sure. Ma'am, hi. My question would be like, what changes do you see in the field, particularly in the field of textile design, or in the field, like broadly in art, do you see coming after the pandemic? Because it has been a major change in our life. So, what changes do you think broadly will happen after this?
I think, what has happened is definitely it's not the changes in the design or in the art form itself, but the changes because we have a tradition in India of having wonderful textiles or wonderful handicraft, wonderful, all kinds of art. I'd say really we are one of the top countries for all of those things. But unfortunately, what has happened is a lot of crafts people have suffered, and that's one of the things that we are doing at the festival also at the Kalagoda festival is trying to have a marketplace for such for things to thrive like arts and crafts. So we have a section where people can come and get in touch with the crafts person. It's not a very commercial space, it's more like a space to advertise crafts people and arts people. So you can directly call them. There's no middleman. We are not the middleman for sure. And, it has been one of my passions to promote arts and crafts, especially, say things like our textiles and handicrafts. Very, very important to see that they grow. And yes, pandemic has affected them a lot. And this is actually the crafts week, yeah, India Crafts Week all over India. So I hope that there is a little bit of a movement there for these poor people who really are so talented and yet have not had the kind of market that they deserve.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my next question would be like, what do you think? You have been the driving force behind the Kala Ghoda festival. What do you think is the most instrumental factors responsible for the popularity of the festival throughout the years?
So I think there is something about Kalagoda Arts Festival. I think it has a sort of energy of its own or a karma. I always say that it has some sort of karma. There was a time where we used to think that it's not going to happen the next year, but now it's in its 22nd year, and I've been involved with it not right from the beginning, but for a very very long time. So that itself has made me kind of extremely positive about next year or what will happen, because I think the show must go on. And it is it is easily the most iconic festival I think that we have in India, I mean, I would say, or even in the world. Actually, people don't know that much about it, but hope that the digital medium will definitely reach out to the rest of the world. And that was our aim, actually, to have it so digital this time, is that we kind of open it up to a lot more people. Otherwise, people around the world don't know what it is. We have a lot of international performers, we have a lot of new things in that sense, and the programming is also very fresh. So let's hope that we can go back to the physical one, but if we can't, then I think this is also a wonderful option.
Ma'am, I completely agree. And my next question is kind of related to what you said. It's about like, what were the challenges basically, or what do you think were the advantages of conducting this festival digitally this time? What you felt was better, or what you felt was something that you faced a challenge with this time?
So the challenge was that it's new for everybody. It's new for all of us, and it's not. And one imagined that it would be easier. That was the challenge, but it hasn't been easy at all in terms of. It requires also a lot of work. There are a lot of technical. Sometimes there are glitches also. It's like people say, "Oh, we wanted to come to your festival on ground, but we got stuck in traffic." So somebody will say, "Oh, our internet was not working." As you know, we just had this experience with this very same interview. So that has been a big challenge for us. But otherwise, it's been just fine. We have a different kind of viewership. That's a big advantage. Big difference of, and younger. We have younger people coming, which is what we need now. You know, we need a younger audience and a more tech savvy audience who are, happy to view it from home, and they say, oh, wow, this is great. I mean, we would never have been able to buy tickets and go to such a concert. So that is something that I feel has been a big plus.
Completely agree, ma'am. It's like art at your doorstep.
Absolutely, art at your doorstep. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. And Sanjana, can you go with the questions further?
Yeah, sure.
The other advantage is that I wouldn't have been meeting you people right now. See,
Yes,
things
ma'am.
like that. You meet people on the street, but you meet street people, but you don't meet a lot of students, or you don't meet a lot of people who have who can talk to you for a long time. So this is a good way to kind of catch up, I feel, to a different kind of communication, of course, but also very nice.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yes.
So, ma'am, my question for you is I am also pursuing textile design, and I personally am finding it very difficult to uh, work from home and understand this field sitting at home. So, how are you coping up with this situation, and how is it affecting you as a person and your work?
So, because I have a lot of experience, I don't have a problem, but I understand your plight completely. Online education is, has to take a different turn. Otherwise, it cannot follow. And, none of us are used, everything is new for us to kind of again. I think teachers also have to learn how to teach the students. It's also a new learning. It's also less interactive learning, and textiles is for me very tactile. So I guess you guys probably miss that feeling, even though you are at a learning stage. But and it's not difficult to learn it if you have inherent talent, even online. But yes, one does miss, I remember learning weaving, and where you actually have to weave. So it's like on a big loom. So that was one of the things that in those days they taught you. Of course, you have the option of also not learning weaving and learning printing, or learning. So yes, it's possible. It's not possible. It's just that I think, like every other field, forget textiles, but in every field you need to interact with your peers, with your classmates. Here, on Zoom things are different, because there you can actually touch each other, and you can touch the fabric, or you can touch your work, or you can when you're drawing something, you can actually just pass it and show it to somebody who's sitting next to you and say, or you can ask your teacher immediately, what do you think of this? So here there is a process, it's like a uh, yeah, I mean, let's meet at 3 p.m. for a Zoom call, or let's meet at 5 p.m. or whatever, and then show the work. So you're working, then you're showing your work, then you're working and showing your work. There's a spontaneity when you actually can actually go up to your teacher and say, look at this. Or you can go to your friend or your colleague and say, look at this. What do you think of this? So that's missing in every kind of field, I feel. It's like, how can you study medicine, for example? How can you be a doctor from from being on Zoom, because you have to examine your patients, isn't it? So that is a big challenge of the times, but I'm sure that'll pass and we'll come back to the old tactile feel.
Yes, absolutely. My second question to you is that there is a very common term that a lot of people, creative people, use nowadays, and that is called artist block. So it basically means that, because you're creating every day, you can't think and you can't be creative. So I want to know how you create so much and such beautiful pieces. So do you experience a similar thing? And what are the best moments of your creativity? How do you cherish your creativity?
Actually, you are right about artist block, and I face less of it now, because like I said, it's experience. And a lot of times, I also push myself to work because I have a little pressure. Pressure is lacking these days. So I think pressure is what makes us all work. I find everything is moving very slowly, even not just my own work, but other people are also kind of not moving very fast. As I mean, I think that's also a challenge for them. And also I think it's become an excuse for a lot of people. So I think we have to again overcome that, and we have to decide ourselves whether we want to move past that, or whether we how we want to look at it. And a lot of people ask, the next year is the festival going to be on the street, for example. And I'm talking about the festival, I'm not talking about my work right now, because festival for me is like creative work only. So that also requires a bit of inspiration, a bit of that. But I really, I say I don't know what's going to happen next time. So let's not worry about that. Let's think about today, what we want to do today. Let's just worry about that. And that's the only way we'll move forward. Forget that. And then also we must not think too much about inspiration and all of that. Let's be a little more practical. I think time has come to be very, very practical and move beyond this excuse of being in a lockdown. Let's unlock it and let's move forward.
Yes, thank you for those inspiring words, ma'am. Uh, Harshika, would you like to ask your questions?
Yeah, sure. So we have observed that your work is a mixture of materials, forming various textures, which is tactile. Lately, everything has been turning digital. So what are your views on digital art galleries and exhibitions, and how has it impacted on art as a whole?
So people often kind of confuse digital art with kind of exhibiting in galleries and showing in a digital art exhibition. Digital art is another art form, I would say, which is a very new art form compared to just painting on a canvas and displaying it. Digital is going to be the future, whether it's a sound installation, whether it's a performance installation, whether whatever it is. I think a lot of art is going to go far more digital in a very short time. It has actually, these things have happened. So I mean, none of us knew about Zoom calls before this. It's just, I'm just saying, digitally we didn't know much about anything digital. Like, we are doing meetings the whole day on digitally. So similarly, a lot of art galleries have said, come and see our show, it's on digitally. I personally don't enjoy it because I come again from a time where I've actually felt, I touched the work, or even my own work. I like to touch it, and you even touch it with you need to even touch it with your eyes, actually, that you don't get the same feeling. The only medium that is really matured is maybe cinema. I think cinema was always a very digital medium, and it really will mature in a very, very, now you have Netflix and you have all of that. So you have Prime Video where you can watch what you want, sitting at home. But to watch an exhibition is a very different feeling, I feel. So if you want to create art, then it better be digitally created art, which will appeal to the digital audience.
Thank you, ma'am. Garima, would you take over?
Thank you, Harshita. Hello, ma'am. My name is Garima. So, I am an aspiring fashion designer and studying post graduation in fashion design. So, ask how you derive your inspiration, because I feel, and each one of us, I feel, struggle with how to sort of get inspired and then use that inspiration in our work. So I would really like to understand the process of how you do it, because I see your work is so beautiful and how it comes out is absolutely amazing and stunning.
So, Garima, I think I actually answered that question, but I'll just elaborate a little more, because since you have, just come in, and I'll just tell you, is
I'm so
that,
sorry, ma'am.
yes, no problem.
I had a
It's
network
just,
issue. Thank you.
no problem. So it's just, when you say inspired and you talk about fashion design, that you are doing that. So similarly, I'm very inspired by textiles, because I'm a textile designer, and then I took to painting a little later. So I studied at JJ School of Art earlier, textile design, and then I went to Parsons for a while in the US and did drawing and painting there. So my work is inspired by my education, actually. A lot of it, the basis of it is it is a bit like this. There's a lot of texture and a lot of printing processes. So the same thing, I think, with fashion also. Once you have a little experience after you are through with your education, I think you will imbibe whatever you have learned at your school of design, and you will of course take it forward, and I'm sure that you will look back and say, oh, I'm so glad I did this, or you might even say, no, I wish I hadn't done this and had done something else. But whatever it is, every experience, there is something to gain from it, good or bad.
Yes, absolutely. Very well said, ma'am. And thank you so much for sharing that, because I think it definitely, is a takeaway for all of us. It's much needed because I don't come from a fashion design background. There is one other question that I'd like to ask, and that could be a little, personal, but sometimes, we all face challenges in our life where we don't know how to sort of move forward. But there is a prime point that we always go back to where that pushes us to, sort of get to our goals. So is there a prime point that you may have which actually sort of sets you forth when it comes to facing a challenge or an obstacle with anything?
Yes, there is. I'll make this very short. I'll tell you. It is. I always say that one should dare to dream. One should follow one's dream also, not just dare to dream, but follow it up. And one should also think about, you know, not just oneself, but also think that, about everything in this world, whether it's the environment, whether it's what you can achieve. Not just, I'm not saying that you need to say, I want to be rich. Though those are not the kind of ambitions I'm talking about. How
Yes.
what you can give to the world rather is a very important thing that you must, that all I tell all young people, rather than think about yourselves, and make your moves accordingly. Thanks.
Yes. Thank you so much. That was really amazing to hear from someone who's been through that journey, and I really appreciate you giving us so much time and answering all our questions. I think we'd like to conclude because we are running out of time. So thank you so much, ma'am, for giving us such amazing answers to all our questions and for all your time today. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
All the best to you all. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Take care. Bye.
Bye, ma'am.